Well, the Astros swept the that was what I was working on this morning. The Astros sweeping the Diamondbacks. Well, Pavin Smith happened, and Justin Verlander, I guess, is still throwing spring training. Let's talk about it.
Jainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we update you joints for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Talk Stros. Brett, when you're not watching Justin Verlander out there throwing batting practice, where can they find you at?
They can find me watching the Texans beat the Indianapolis Colts on the first game of the season. Find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find me at Stros411 on X and on Facebook, and at Back to the Bullpen on X, on iHeartRadio, and on YouTube. Tomorrow night, Mike and I will come out with a new episode. You guys will have to check that out. He's coming all the way back from Atlanta. Dude, he was part of some alumni weekend thing there, and they actually hit a walk-off. That would have been fun for the Astros to do. But, hey, we had Josh Hader to come in and give up a run in a game that wasn't a safe situation. So we always have that working for us.
Yeah, so guys, thank you for making us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for making us your first listen. Go and subscribe to us. Go and give us a big fat thumbs up, and go ahead and become an everyday or somebody listens to our podcast every day. We do appreciate each one of you. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started today. I bet on YouTube TV, you could actually watch the Astros play today on ESPN, unlike DirecTV, where you could not watch the game today. But it's probably for the better. I mean, I didn't get to see how Justin Verlander looked, but just looking at the stats and everything that happened in this game, I didn't really listen to it on the radio. I was like, you know what? This might be the night I go to H-E-B and do a little bit of shopping.
Yeah, 8 runs in 3 innings right here. Jesse talks about. Yeah, Eric. The thing is, it was a control issue. It was an issue where he obviously was trying to locate his off-speed stuff because his off-speed stuff was outside of the zone. As a hitter, this is what you're looking to do. You're looking to eliminate any pitches you can out of the pitcher's arsenal so you know what's coming. If you know a fastball is coming, if you know they're elevated, if you know his off-speed pitches are elevated, that's what they're going to pick on. And they just simply picked on Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander did not look good on the mound. He couldn't get comfortable. He started to get the shape of his curveball there. He started to get movement, but it was down in the dirt, and he wasn't fooling anybody. To counter him, Nelson actually used to go with a bunch of different pitches, and it took him a little bit to get consistent. I think he's 5-0 over his last 5 starts. But Ryan Nelson, really, this kid did what his pitching coaches like Brent Strom have told him to do, Eric, because he threw 56 four-seam. He also threw this cutter. So he didn't used to throw the cutter at all. And the thing with Ryan, before we got to him, before he became this master pitcher in these last few games, there was so much variation between his curveball and his changeup and his four-seam that he was getting hit. So they threw in the cutter because it missed bats, and it's not necessarily his best pitch, but it's less of a variation from a four-seam. So when you have a cutter and a four-seam, and then you're able to throw in other pitches, that's what allowed him to be effective. Again, going back to Verlander, that's why Verlander couldn't be effective, because he couldn't get those pitches in the zone down and missing those bats, and it just snowballed. And wow, like 2 home runs, to the same guy. One of them was a grand slam. It was just one of those days. Look, if they're going to go to a 6-man rotation, I guess we're going to win 5 games and lose the 6th. almost guaranteed right now until Justin gets fixed or feels right.
I know the other day I did say that it's too early to give up on Justin Verlander. This is, like you mentioned in the beginning, this is spring training. And I don't want to back off what I said, because at the time I said that we need to be patient with Justin Verlander. But this is the second straight game that he gave up 8 runs. He didn't have any strikeouts in this game. To get through 3 innings, he threw 75 pitches. He threw 47 strikes. So this was a issue where, like you said, there was no command. He's not fooling anybody. His ERA is all the way up to 5.30. So there is a element of concern at this point. I think the Astros have 19 games left, if I did math right earlier. So the Astros need to decide, is this guy good enough to be in the playoff rotation? At this point, with what we've seen recently, maybe the answer is no. But I think it's he's got maybe 2, maybe 3 more starts before you can honestly say, yeah, this guy's just not, he's washed up. He's not good anymore. But it's leaning towards he's probably not going to get a start in the postseason. But if you're going to go with that logic, what Arrighetti did, I know he had that great month of August, but he gave up all those runs in 2/3 of inning. So it's kind of, you have to look at what they've done long term. Arrighetti had this long success this year. Recently, he had 1 bad start. So I think we'll see how Arrighetti bounces back. Verlander, he's had a long storied career, but maybe this is the time where he has to say, look at himself in the mirror and say, is this it? Am I done?
Well, look, here's the thing. Talking to Justin Verlander this year, Eric, I don't think that thought even crosses his mind. This is how he thinks of this game. He looks at this game and he's not satisfied. He looks at this game and he knows, like, look, it's like Mike tells me all the time. They're professional hitters. When you make mistakes to professionals, they hit them, and they hit them really far. And so that's what was happening tonight. He wasn't hitting his spots. And the D-backs pitcher was at first. Now the Astros, he was vulnerable eventually. The Astros had seen him enough. They had gone through the lineup a couple times. Now they're picking up on stuff where they could see, okay, I'm looking for this. When he throws me this, he's going to counter with that. And so they had a good counterattack. If JV doesn't go off the rails, our friend Corbin said it earlier, they miss it. I mean, they actually win this game 6-5. And Trevor's like, why is everybody so down? Look, I will say this. We won 2 out of 3 in very convincing fashion against the Diamondbacks, who have been one of the hottest hitting teams in baseball. So
the second game was a big comeback too. They're down 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, it was really kind of a back and forth game. The Astros showed fight. I mean, look, they scored 6 runs today. So there's really no need to panic. We get a day off. Then we face Oakland here. Seattle has a day off, and they face the Padres.
Right.
I like our scenario better than Seattle's scenario.
Yes, but keep in mind, I know if you look at what the A's have done the past 10 days, it hasn't been great. They're 4-6. But keep in mind that since the Astros have gone on their hot streak, the second team with the best record in American League for a while there was the Oakland A's. They have found a way to play better baseball. So does that mean that the Astros are not going to play great baseball? No, but this is a type of series that I call a trap series. It's the A's are a team that has played the Astros no matter what season. They've typically played them pretty good. And this is a different team. This is a team that has been playing better baseball recently. Am I saying that the Astros are not a better team? They are a better team. Well, but that's why you play games.
But didn't we sweep them earlier in the year when we weren't playing great? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we're playing a lot better than they are. Like you said, 4-6. They've actually lost 2 in a row. I'm not worried about this A's series. I honestly don't see why, because Justin Verlander's not going to start. No offense. Your other pitchers are actually doing really well, and the Padres find themselves in the heat of a major battle because in the National League, Eric, they lead the wild card spot. They could, if they, well, they're 5 games behind the Dodgers. I don't know that they're going to catch the Dodgers. The Padres have lost 2 games. They are a half game over the Diamondbacks for seeding. So the Padres want to win this. Seattle, and I'll have to look at their pitching matchups, and we can do that tomorrow night. Look at ours and look at who they have going. I just like our chances a lot better.
Yeah, and it's good to see Kyle Tucker back out there. It's good to see the Astros rebound after a terrible series versus Reds to win 2 out of 3 versus a team that is into contention for the playoffs. So we'll go and continue this conversation next. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Astros. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com today. It is America's #1 sportsbook. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel. Well, we got something a little bit different for you. Something that will please your listening ears and your watching eyes. That's right. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and you'll get 3 weeks free of the NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. That's right. Then with your YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account, a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. From money lines to prop bets and so much more, FanDuel.com is America's #1 sportsbook. Check it out. Download it today. It is America's #1 sportsbook.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Make us first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day and becoming every day. Or go and check out Michael Connor with the Locked On Astros podcast as well. He does a great job, and he gets the honor of doing it after every game, right after the game. Sometimes it's when Brett and I are at work at school, and so I know the Astros lose some games, they win some games, but Brett, you did some podcasts this weekend where the Astros won some games. So the Astros did take 2 out of 3 from the Diamondbacks. They played some great baseball. It doesn't matter. Yes, in the long run, it does matter what Justin Verlander did, but it's one game. It equals to 1 loss. And you would like to have won this game, but just put it to the side and just go on to the next series. They have a day off, and that's why Josh Hader was in this game. It had nothing to do. I know you know this, but it had nothing to do with a save or anything, but it's just getting him some work before the day off. But the Astros have got to play some better baseball. We can't do this crap where the Reds are coming. We're going to play the Reds. They're not a good team. Let's go ahead and lower expectations and go ahead and let them beat the crap out of us. We had some guy named Pavin Smith hit 3 home runs against us. He almost had a home run cycle against us. I didn't even know that existed. So
a home run cycle. It's a thing and it's an anomaly. And you know, I was kind of shouting at the Tides earlier when it was like, I was like, why are we bringing in Hader? I didn't realize he hadn't pitched since the 30th of August. So actually, was it the 30th of August? Yeah, August. He hasn't pitched since August 30th.
Right.
And we are at September.
Keep in mind, we've had some blowout wins recently. So the Astros have been playing baseball or losses.
Okay. See, I didn't realize that. So, So, man, what do? You just chalk it up. You kick their butt for 2 games. They kick your butt for 1 game. You had a chance really in some of these innings. I mean, things could have unraveled for Ryan as well. And you just didn't have enough in the tank to come back in the end. But this is an offense that, look, I think it's the first time we've had this lineup since 2+ months, Eric, where we have Altuve, Alvarez, Tucker, and Bregman on the lineup at the same time. Yeah. I mean, things are looking up, folks. And yeah, it's going to take Tucker. Look, Tucker got a single today, I believe. He did score 2 runs. He did get a walk. He did get an RBI. He contributed, but he had no rehab starts. He didn't have any chance to get his feet wet, to get his legs out from under, out under him, all that stuff. And so I think you're going to see Kyle Tucker maybe take off a little bit in the Oakland series. I think he's going to use that as his launching pad. Tough to do against Arizona, who is a very good pitching opponent. but have all of them in the lineup, and Yainer Diaz is still hitting. I mean, this offense is definitely to be feared, and Chas McCormick, Eric, is contributing. I mean,
he played all three outfield spots tonight too.
He played right, center, and left. I thought that was interesting, but yeah, he's contributing. Good stuff, man.
Yeah. So I know that, and you got to talk about it on Friday night or Saturday morning, but Kyle Tucker did play his first game, and in his first at bats, he had a very awkward swing, and I was like, oh no, I hope he didn't hurt himself. But it looks like the Diamondbacks are not scared of him, but they hit him in that game. They also walked him in that game. So they're still pitching him like he's Kyle Tucker. So that means that they still respect him enough, even though he didn't have any rehab games. And so the league is probably going to still treat him like he's Kyle Tucker. So that's a good thing. And I see Joseph put this comment here. I understand. Trust me, I want the Astros to win every single game, Joseph. He says that we need every game to get that bye. I want that bye. But at this point, there's nothing we can do about this game. When Justin Verlander gives up 8 runs, there's nothing your offense can do. You could try, like they scored 6 runs in this game. Like you said before the game, Brett, most times if you score 6 runs, you're going to win this game. But when Justin Verlander consistently does this, it's hard to rebound from this. And I don't know if Joe Espada sits Verlander down and says, look, we're going for this bye. We want the first round bye out of the wild card series. We're going to go ahead and skip a start. We'll go ahead and put Ronel Blanco to start for you. How do you feel about that? And so, because I don't know what the Astros are going to do, because you're good. Still, the team is still going to go with Justin Verlander. And I think they're still going to give him a chance because of who he is. This is not what Eric Huysman is saying. This is what I think the Astros are going to do.
Yeah, exactly. Right here, SFA Powerhouse says 5-man or 6-man rotation. And basically, they are going to the 6-man rotation, period, in the story, especially they get a day off. That's good for them. They were able to skip a start with Ronel Blanco, put him in the bullpen. And he did great, Eric. 2 innings, just looked really, really good. And KB saying, do we feel like Bregman is bothered about his contract knowing his elbow is hurt? No, I don't think he's worried about that. I think Bregman is not a guy that has a hit. Like, he's not like a Byron Buxton, right? Where he's like always on the IL. Right. He had some issues, but Bregman is typically a healthy player. He takes care of his body. Here's the thing. He's a smaller frame guy. Smaller frame guys typically don't have a ton of injuries. It's typically your taller guys. Byron Buxton's a really tall guy. He plays an outfield position, and those guys, longer limbs, the longer you are, you typically have more injuries. And so I think Bregman, though, from what Chandler Rome went on a podcast this weekend and said he doesn't see Chandler Rome re-signing with the Houston Astros. But right now, we can't even worry about that. Right now, all I care about is Bregman contributing. He's contributing offensively. Is Bregman playing third base? Yes, like Jay mentioned, he played third base back-to-back games, hit a home run today, almost hit it. If he hits that ball about 15 feet to the left late in the game, he scores 2 runs. They make it even closer. So Bregman's contributing, and he's feeling good. You get the off day. That's great.
Right.
So health is the name of the game, and winning. And whether they get the 1 or 2 seed or whether they get the wild card, they want the division. They want to get the division. They want to get to the playoffs. Once they get to the playoffs, there's no team in the American League that's more feared than the Houston Astros.
This player is batting .294 with an OPS of .812. He's got 1 home run, 4 RBIs, 9 walks, and only 51 plate appearances with the Houston Astros. Who is he?
Ben Gamble.
Yes, this guy has been a totally different player with the Houston Astros, and I don't think anybody would have seen it. So I think that Dana Brown, he's been given a lot of crap this year, especially for not adding the depth of the rotation for all the injuries. But I don't think anybody could have predicted all the injuries the Astros have had this year. But I think this was one of the finds that I think will. You remember the stupid Braves that beat us in the World Series that year? You had players like Ben Gamel. I mean, I know that they were a little bit bigger names, but names that you didn't expect to help. And I think that's what's going to happen here. So, guys, we'll go and continue this conversation. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen.
H-Town Wheelhouse with Locked On Astros, and eBay Motors is our sponsor today. Millions of parts for your MVP, passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Win every time with parts that fit your ride.
Hey, you watching this podcast right now, have you hit the subscribe button down there? What are you waiting for? Go and do it right now. Go ahead and help us get to 20,000 subscribers. Make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. Wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. Go and watch us on your Amazon Fire TV stick as well. Just go and search the free channels app, and you can go and search baseball, and you'll find Brett and I, and you can put us on your big screen, your projector, whatever you want to do to watch. Make us your everyday listen. Go ahead and do that. So, Brett, I know we all gave Dana Brown, I was kind of leading up to this. We all gave Dana Brown a lot of crap for not upgrading the rotation, but at the trade deadline, he traded a lot of players, and we're like, no, that's too much. Kikuchi sucks. Kikuchi has been a revelation for the Houston Astros. And I think we heard a lot of people across baseball saying that he had the best stuff of all the starting pitchers out there. We've seen other pitchers go everywhere. I think Snell would have been a great addition to anybody, but they would have to give up a lot of prospects. But I think Kikuchi has earned his way onto the playoff rotation, if not the top three. Right?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I mean, look, someone was discussing playoff, like, who are your four guys? And I'm basically saying that I've got Blanco is going to the bullpen, I think, without a doubt. And then I also think that you have to. Now, this is my four for a playoff rotation, and I know it's not going to happen. Framber, Hunter Brown, Kikuchi, and Arrighetti. But guys, I'm just telling you right now, JV is going to be a starter in the playoffs. I think JV makes adjustments. I think JV gets better. But the guys on the broadcast even said it. JV is not going to the bullpen.
Right.
JV will not. This guy has earned his stripes. He's not going to the bullpen. And I know we've talked, and I've even said, like, I'm not a big fan of bringing JV back. I'm not a big fan of, like, re-signing him because of his age. But this year, Eric, it's inevitable. And I've always said that. I've always said that it's inevitable. Now, if it were me picking the top four, I would have to put Arrighetti in there instead of JV. But you're not going to put him in the bullpen. So, I mean, the question can be bantered about, but baseball is still about pecking order. It's still about who you are and who you've been. And, yeah, this is a back of the baseball card discussion, but it would be had in 30 of the 30 clubs in Major League Baseball.
But look what the back of the baseball card discussion has led to. We were patient with a lot of these players outside of Jose Abreu and Rafael Montero, but Rafael Montero is proving to be a much better pitcher down in AAA.
But Rafael doesn't really have the back of the baseball card defense.
Oh, I know.
Unless it's every other year. But, you know, Eric, at the end of the day, this team's going to do what is best for this team. And Justin Verlander's going to figure it out. He will figure it out.
Yeah, Chris Reyes says, "Oh Lord, not the back of the baseball card thing."
Well,
But yes, but the Astros were saying this team is good. You just got to be patient. And that's what we all had to do. And now we're rewarded with the patience. Yes, Verlander has sucked his last 2 starts. Yes, Spencer Arrighetti gave up 9 runs in 2/3 of inning, whatever it was the other day. But this team is on a roll. This team has, I know it's down to 4.5 game lead over the Mariners after the Mariners won today, but I'm not going to rule the fact that they can go on a hot streak and catch up or at least put up a fight with the Houston Astros. I think you got 19 games left. This is in the Astros' hands. You've got to play good baseball against the teams that you should beat, like the A's. The A's have been playing better baseball the past, 60 days. But you got to say, hey, we're the captain now. We're the leaders at AL West. You are maybe 3 years from now. Go ahead and just let us beat you.
No, the Mariners are supposed to be now. This was supposed to be their year,
Right.
Eric, with the pitching they had. It was, I mean, who would have thought that this season would come down to the Mariners are legitimately still in the AL West race, but yet they fired their manager. Okay. But what I love, and I actually talked about this earlier, actually over the weekend, Eric, and you mentioned Kikuchi. There was a lot of griping about how many players we gave up, but all those players combined, have they all 3 equaled 7 wins for the Blue Jays? I don't think so. Kikuchi, all 7 games he's pitched, the Astros have won. Now he hasn't won every one of those games, and he did still win after giving up some runs this last time. Kikuchi has been a shot of energy, a shot of adrenaline, and the team gets out there and gets up for him and produces offensively. He absolutely has got to be a top 3 in this playoff rotation because when he goes out there on the mound, the team wins. And
Right.
I mean, 7 in a row is pretty hard to argue with. I mean, if they say, look at the numbers, look at the numbers. He's mixed up his pitches, he got double-digit swings and misses again. And I mean, he gave up 4 runs and see, that's where I think a lot of people wish that maybe, look, Justin Verlander goes out there, gives up a 4 or 5 spot, no big deal. But Eric, this is the most he's given up in an Astros uniform. And this is the second most he's given up in a single outing in 16 years.
Right.
16 years. This is the second worst outing. I think he gave up 9 in one other outing, I think, as a Tiger. But he's been very good his whole career. Age has caught up to him. Father Time is undefeated. So there's no one more frustrated and more pissed off at themselves right now than Justin Verlander.
Right. And he's going to make the adjustments. He's done it before. We've seen him do it before. But does he have enough time? He has 2, maybe 3 starts before the end of the season. So Joe Espada has to make the decision. We've seen the Astros make tough decisions before on who makes the ALDS roster, the wild card roster. In this situation, you have to play 3 games to decide who goes on to the ALDS. The Astros want to avoid that. So you have to try to get that first round bye. Do the Astros have enough time to catch up to the other 2 teams in AL East and AL Central? So it's just a matter of, you got to try to win every game. Yes, This was a loss today, but it's only 1 game. All you can do is go out and try to win as many games as you can. But Verlander, or whoever the pitcher is, you can't give up so many runs at the beginning game, because you can't. The offense is good.
Can we arrange a meeting? Can we arrange a meeting where Eric camera? Can we arrange a meeting where Eric tells? Because Eric, I've been in the same room with this guy, and let me tell you, Verlander is intimidating as hell. They're like Yordan Alvarez. It's a piece. No, hey, I'm just telling you, Yordan Alvarez. It's a piece of cake talking to that guy. He is so nice and so cordial, dude. You walk in Justin Verlander's presence, you feel like you're in Buckingham Palace, and like he's the king. Like, I would love to see Eric with the microphone. Justin Verlander, do you know that you're not supposed to give up a lot of runs in the first innings? Let me tell you,
Mr. Verlander, could you
Yeah.
not do that?
boom. No, he wouldn't lower the boom. But look, guys, hopefully he'll figure it out. We want him to figure it out. We need Justin Verlander to have legendary performances because, guys, bottom line, he's going to make the playoff roster. He's not going to get Mike Fiers. He's not going to get left off this playoff roster.
Or Chad Qualls.
Chad Qualls. Yeah, Chad Qualls. Or
Will Harris. I think Will Harris got left off, right?
Did he get left off after night?
I want to say that he got left off one of the roster. There was some reliever that got left off.
19. Not 19.
Well, I think it was just the ALDS roster because they went off with they wanted an extra hitter, but I don't remember what pitcher it was. But guys, that's all we got for this edition of Locked On Astros podcast. Tomorrow we will come back. We'll look how good have the A's been doing recently. Are they should the Astros, not necessarily this year, but should the Astros be worried about them in the future? And what do the Astros need to do to win this series? Because it's all about winning series, going for the sweeps, trying to get that bye, because you want that time off. You don't want to be out there playing ball games. And also, is a good thing to actually have that, because we've seen wild card teams go on and continue playing and then go on to win the World Series. So we'll go and have this conversation. My name is Eric Huysman. He is Brett Chancey. We are the Locked On Astros podcast. We'll see you tomorrow, and go Astros.
Go Astros. And Justin Verlander, you can't give up a lot of runs to start the game.
That's bad.
Deep thoughts by Eric.